Hey guys, it's Stacy here. Welcome to my channel, Life's a Project, where I like to share my everyday life projects with you. So today's project, I am putting together a countdown to Christmas for my niece and nephew. So I've done one of these for them the last 5 or 6 years now, and I just love putting these together. I think it's such a great way for the family to come together and do Christmas activities every day leading up to Christmas through the month of December and just make some beautiful Christmas memories. Now I make them different every year. I like to present them in a different way. So I wanted to show you one that I did for them last year. So I always start out with a list. I come up with 25 different Christmas activities that they can do starting December the 1st. And then I place them into envelopes, boxes, or bags, just whatever, labeled 1 through 25. So you can see last year I used envelopes. I labeled them 1 through 25. So on December the 1st, inside we'll have their daily activity. For example, make a Christmas card for someone you love. And in there will also be a daily activity page. Now these activity sheets are just something a little extra. Now I just went online and just Googled activity sheets, free printables for Christmas, things like Spot the Difference, mazes, coloring pages, I Spy games, crossword puzzles, connect the dots, word search, just whatever's age appropriate for the child that you're making this for. I copy and pasted them and just printed them out. So next I have here a couple of examples of some treasure hunts or scavenger hunts, and these are one of my favorite things to incorporate in a countdown to Christmas. The kids absolutely love them. Now using my computer and printer once again, I'll just make these little maps and make these little clues, and my sister would hide the clues throughout the house and they would collect those clues, and those clues would lead them to the prize. I always wanted to make my scavenger hunts or treasure hunts a little different, so I would go to places like Pinterest, just places online to get different ideas and inspiration. Sometimes I would use little riddles or just use clues and treasure maps. Now, no countdown to Christmas is ever complete without a treat bag or incorporating some candy and prizes. Now all I've done here is just take a Christmas gift bag and fill it full of candies from places like the Dollar Tree and Walmart, and every day they'll be able to grab a piece or two and they can enjoy that as they do their countdown to Christmas. And then I would also make up little separate little gift bags. These were prizes for the scavenger hunt and their little games, and I would have things like suckers and hot chocolate and other little candies inside. Now a couple of years ago, their countdown to Christmas was these little paper towel rolls wrapped in tissue paper, and I covered them with some wrapping paper to make them pretty and tied the ends with yarn. Now inside I had their daily activity on a sheet of paper with some candy inside, and I made 25 for each child. So you can do that, make something that holds the activity and the candy inside. So you can see there's so many different ways to put together a countdown to Christmas. You can really spend as much time as you have on one, just putting together different activities and games and puzzles and scavenger hunts. But this year I wanted to keep it simple and do a countdown to Christmas, doing the paper chain method and making a paper chain countdown to Christmas really simple. Now the first thing you have to do, like I mentioned before with any countdown to Christmas, is have your list of daily activities. Now you can actually do this in 2 different ways. You can do like I like to do starting December the 1st, and you're doing the 25 days to Christmas. Now the shorter version is the 12 days of Christmas, which is the 12 days leading up to Christmas Day, so a much shorter countdown. So when you're planning your activity list, it's a good idea to look at a calendar, look at your schedule. If you want to do on, say, number 5, a movie night with popcorn, well, that may fall on a Thursday because those numbers correspond with the days of December. So you may want to make it day 7, which is a Saturday, and so that works better with your schedule. So here is the activity list for this year's Countdown to Christmas for my niece and nephew. Like I said, I change it up a little different every year. Sometimes I'll add on a Christmas play, or you can say, cut down a Christmas tree or go ice skating. If that's something you like to do, you can make homemade fudge, read a Christmas story, make ice cream floats, watch a Christmas movie, go see Christmas lights, do a good deed for someone else, make Christmas cookies the night before Christmas, read about Christmas in the Bible, just so many different possibilities. And then I usually always put on the 25th, sing Christmas songs and have a Merry Christmas, because Christmas, enjoying Christmas with your family, is that day's activity. Now, once my list was finished, I just typed it out on my computer, printed it out, and I just use a really fun font and pretty paper. Now, I could have used white, but I already had this red and green paper, and I just spaced all the activities out so that I'll be able to cut wide enough strips to make a paper chain. And to make the chain really fun, where the colors kind of alternate red and green, I did print out the even numbers on the red paper and the odd numbers on the green paper. So once again, they'll be red and green, and I thought that was a really fun idea. Now I went ahead and cut all of my paper into their little strips to form a paper chain. Now you can see here that they have a nice clean straight edge. Now I did that using a rotary cutter, a ruler, and one of those cutting mats. Now if you don't have that, scissors are just fine to use. Now the widths are not all the exact same. I just kind of eyeballed it. They're pretty much about the same. No big deal if they're not. So now they're pretty much ready to make a paper chain, alternating in colors from red and green, and of course going by numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Now to make my countdown to Christmas pretty, I did this step of making numbers 1 through 25. Now if you didn't want to do this, you could just use a Sharpie and write the numbers on the outside of each of the little chain links. But I thought it was much cuter to make these little numbers. I can cut them out into little squares and I can paste them on the outside of the links, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that in just a minute. So now it's time for the fun part, making the chain. So you take number 1, now you just make it into a circle, into a loop, into a chain link, and then you staple the ends together. Now if you don't have a stapler, just use some glue or use some tape, just whatever you have. Now I like to put the words in the inside so it's much harder to read, so you're not giving away that day's activity. And then so the kids can see really easily what number this is, I can just glue or tape or staple the numbers to the outside. And I simply did that just using a regular glue stick. So now I can go ahead and do number 2. Now you want to run your paper through the first loop before you staple it into place, and you can see how they come together like a chain. So once again, I'll just staple the 2 ends together, and then I can glue on my number, and that's pretty much it. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of them, and I'll show you what it looks like. So you can see here I have my chains made, 1 through 25, and you can see I made 3 separate chains. Now this is how I want to display it, and I'll show you a little bit more how I plan to do that. Now if you want to just make this one big long chain, that is perfectly fine, and kind of display it as a garland on your tree or in your house, that is just fine as well. Now I thought it'd be fun to kind of display this countdown to Christmas a little bit differently than your traditional paper chain garland. Now I had some leftover foam board, and you can purchase foam board from the Dollar Tree. Now I just had a scrap piece I cut into a square. And then I had some of this craft paper from Hobby Lobby. I purchased it for 25 cents a sheet, and this is in the buffalo check pattern, black and red. And then I'll just cut that to fit the size of the foam board, just kind of cut around the edges. Now I want to glue both of those pieces together, and I'll do that with some Mod Podge. Now if you don't have any Mod Podge, you can just use some regular glue. So once the paper is glued to the foam board, it kind of makes a little sign. Now I just need some letters saying Countdown to Christmas. Now I could just purchase some stickers, but I thought it would be much cheaper and easier just to use my computer and printer once again, just type out Countdown to Christmas, and I could use a fun little font, and then I could just cut those out and glue them into place. So here it is all glued together, and guys, it does not have to be perfect. I have some imperfections, some bubbling of the paper, and that is okay. This is going to be used kind of a one and done. You know, when it's finished after December, it's going to get thrown away, so you don't have to kind of fuss with it too much. Now you can see here I have 3 holes that I poked in the foam board before applying the paper. Now in order to make my little holes go all the way through the paper, I'm just using a skewer. You want to just use that pointy end, go through the back first just a little so you can see on the front where to place the skewer to make your holes. Now by putting it through the front and pulling it through the back, it just makes a really nice look, looks nice and clean, and the paper goes through the hole and it doesn't look all messy. Now I made 3 holes in the bottom of the sign so that I'll be able to attach my 3 paper chains to the Countdown to Christmas sign. Now you can see here at first I had the idea to pull in some of that Christmas greenery using some of these garland ties or pine stems that you can purchase from Hobby Lobby or the Dollar Tree. Now it just did not work out as I had planned, so you'll see later on that I end up just using some more jute twine. And then you can see here at the top, I just made another hole to hang my sign using some jute twine. I just tied a knot at the top and just made a really simple hanger. So guys, here it is all finished. I think it turned out really cute, and you can see here I changed out those garland ties with some more jute twine, and I just tied that into a simple bow. And make sure if you're putting one of these together that you start with the number 1 at the bottom and work your way up, because they'll have to rip off number 1, then 2, and 3 as the days go on in the month of December to find out what their daily activity is for that day. So guys, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it has given you a lot of ideas and inspiration to make one of these for your family, for your kids, for someone you love. And guys, I hope you will subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any future projects, because I do have another great idea for a countdown to Christmas that I want to share with you really soon. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you will follow me on Instagram. I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Merry Christmas. Bye.